gotta thank God. Dishing out the plastic, do the dance till you're spastic. If you diss, it gets drastic. Listen to the rhyme, cause it's time to make gravy. If it moves your booty, then shake, shake it, baby. All the way to Africa, aka the motherland. 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 All the way to Africa.
Wait. I think we're here.
Are we here?
We're live. I'm always terrible at starting these streams, but we should be live now. So hello. I want to do a sanity check to make sure everybody can actually hear us, because that never seems to work out well. But here we go. Welcome to the first Digital Foundry live stream that we've done since we go independent. And as promised, we already have yes, it's time to crack on, as they say in the comments. So Audi's back.
Yeah, I'm here.
There he is.
This makes it seem like the IGN kept me like hidden and shackled, but this is not the case.
Are you sure about that?
Well, maybe. I might have said some things that I shouldn't have, but now we're independent, so we can say whatever we want.
And the rich imps and the rich jokes, they're back.
Oh, many more to come.
Exactly. And of course, we'll get to him in a second next to you, Audi. But first, the man of the hour, Randal Linden. The creator of Bleem, the mastermind behind Doom for the Super NES.
Yes.
This is so fun because you got a chance to revisit an old project. And how often do game developers get to do that?
Yeah.
Not very.
Rare.
So thank you so much for being here, Randy. This is awesome.
My pleasure.
And next to you, Audi, though, your buddy Tom. Why don't you explain why Tom is here? Because Tom is awesome. He's Norwegian. He has a cool cat named Guppy. But he actually contributed. He helped a lot with this version of Doom.
Yes.
Yeah. So Tom here. I've known you since second grade. Yeah. So we've been friends ever since we were kids. I grew up with his MSX. But Tom is a game tester now. He's worked on several games for Konami, Limited Run,
Yes, I have.
CRG, and you were actually instrumental in getting this version of Doom on its feet because you were testing this for about a year.
Yeah, almost a year now.
Yeah, and it took a lot of fine-tuning. So we call you lead tester by considering how much you and Randy had to go into the weeds. It's, I don't know, you were very much beyond the tester in this case.
Yes.
I was playing it a lot, going through it.
And we'll get to all of that soon. But so first, the setup here. This is my first time really doing this, but I'm playing this here on the Super NT. So I have a Super NT hooked up via HDMI. Is the volume too low? Somebody's saying the volume's too low. I can turn up the volume on the mics.
Which one?
Mine, I guess.
There's someone here with an incredible memory because someone's asking, is Tom the guy who likes that soccer game on N64? I think I mentioned you.
So
I think I mentioned you probably a couple of years ago on stream regarding like ISS.
All right.
Yeah. National
So
Superstar
someone has,
Soccer
like-
64.
Yeah, so someone has like an incredible memory. But yes,
That's amazing.
That was a great game.
Tom, you're not a soccer guy, but you like that game.
No, I'm not.
But okay, so we are playing. So I'm playing this here on Super NT, and it just so happens that Audi, you sent out cartridges around to various people to check out for review, including me here.
That was a secret. It shouldn't tell them it's me.
Oh, sorry, it was.
Yeah, so I sent out test cartridges to basically people in the community, including yourself, that I trust to give proper feedback, kind of giving us a heads up if there's some stuff that we should change or improve on. And yeah, you're saying you're playing it on Super NT, and one thing we discovered very quickly when we sent them out was that originally the cartridge was not compatible with the Super NT. In a way,
It
did
worked,
play
but
on it.
there was a little bit of a hackiness to it.
Yeah, so we actually got in touch with Analog, and so there will be a firmware update which takes care of it. Also, I think the subsequent updates
Nope,
fixes it.
doesn't need a firmware update. It was
No
our bug.
I don't have a firmware update for the Super NT. This is just running
Okay.
the game.
So it
The
runs
game
now.
has been updated because the cartridge accepted an update, which is cool,
Yeah.
this version. But the reason that's important is because since then, we made a lot of changes to this. I actually requested Randy, it's like, you think you could make this actually feel more like Doom? And he was like, sure. So let me explain what I mean. So one of the things in the original version back in the 90s and also the first version that went out is that the friction coefficient was adjusted in a very different way. So like when you would move and stop, it would just stop very quick. In this new version, like the PC version, when you stop moving, you actually get this little bit of like, it glides to a stop, right? So there's a little bit of a momentum to the movement that's really critical to the feeling of Doom. And you've implemented that here. Furthermore, the monsters were too fast because they were adjusted to run at, well, for 10 or 5 FPS of the original release. And now that you've more than doubled the frame rate, they were too fast. The animation frames were too fast. The movement, the falling, everything was too fast. Didn't feel quite right. So let's start by talking a little bit about the changes that you made to the underlying game to make this feel more like Doom and what you did and how you made this happen.
Yeah, everything that was built for the original version of SNES Doom was timed and adjusted for that frame rate. Now it averaged 10, maybe 12 frames a second, but it was slow, and so the animations, the player movement, the enemy movement, both in normal and in high speed mode, even the gravity was adjusted so that the time it took you to move, say, from the back of E1 M1 at the hangar to the front was timed out, and it matched the same timing for Doom. Now, it didn't have enough frame rate to properly do the velocities and the glides, and
Right.
the acceleration. And so now that it's running at 20 frames a second, when you said, well, not just you, but when a number of people and Audi said, can we change this as far as the speed goes because it's too fast, I went back in and adjusted all the coefficients, and so now it runs and plays much more like the original PC version.
It does.
And that was part of kind of what we mentioned by sending the cards out, because Joe Rutherford, John Linden, a couple of others have kind of reached out and said, like, you know, they wanted that adjustment if it was possible. And yeah, we still were developing it, and you were still testing it with Randy. So like, I employed basically John to like, hey, can you sit down with Randy now then and kind of, you know Doom better than anyone. Can we have this kind of wrap up here at the end where we actually fine-tune this? And I mean, that's the change that came in the last
Week?
2 weeks?
2 weeks.
I'd
2
say.
weeks.
Yeah. So, because which is kind of, it wasn't an essential thing, but
No.
for you guys it was essential, but it was kind of
Yes.
like, you can still play, have fun with how it was, but it's like, man, could we make it even better here at the very end? And we did. So this is the first time I think publicly people are seeing this running at this new, technically new speed and frame rate. The game logic is just perfect.
Exactly.
Yes.
This is the key that made, for me, it's like, so whenever I play Doom, I always end up playing more Doom than I intended to play. But with the Super NES version, that usually didn't happen because it just didn't quite feel the way I want it to feel. The first time I sat down to test this initial patch, I had to apologize to Randy for getting back to him a little bit later than I expected because that happened. I just sat down and started playing Doom, and before I knew it, 2 hours had passed.
Yeah, and I was freaking out while you were testing.
I know,
'cause
I'm
was
so
like,
sorry.
Yeah, I was seeing the chat keep out like,
"Is there a problem?" And it's like, crickets. And
I
it's
know,
like,
I know, man.
No.
It's like, no, it was just really good. So
Now,
yes,
now, it's important to note that one of the reasons we're doing this stream today, though, is that today is actually for those who want the physical cartridge. Today until midnight Eastern time, so it's like I guess there's 9 more hours. About
right.
Yeah, 9 hours. It's exciting.
Yeah, so these are the last hours you can order the physical cartridge at limitedrun.com. limitedrungames.com. Limitedrun.com, I don't know what kind of site you go to, so don't go to that. But
They don't go to that.
limitedrungames.com. And I know earlier today they did actually put up, there was some cancellations of collector editions. So a few more of those came up, but I think they went away in like...
They're gone. Yeah, I heard back and they're already gone.
Yeah, unfortunately. But the regular version is still there. Full
Yes.
packaging manual.
Mhm.
But I know now that we've kind of fine-tuned it, this is the ultimate version of Doom on Super Nintendo. And why, man, that was the original name for Ultimate Doom. That was the original pitch name we did, but understandably, I guess Bethesda kind of felt that Doom was it was still
Right.
just Doom.
It's iconic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So actually, one thing I wanted to ask you, Randy, whether it was a memory, performance, or whatever thing. So one of the big sacrifices of this version is that the textured walls that were essentially transparent, where they have transparency bits like grates, fences, all of those had to go from Doom, and instead you can see they were replaced with things like this, where you actually like put these blocks in place instead to prevent the player from falling out of the level or falling into the slime there. I'd love to know technically what it was that made those specific bits so difficult.
It's a couple of things. One is the additional memory required for the textures. Two is that the textures are what's colloquially known as punch-through textures, where they've got some parts that are opaque, like the diagonal grate where it's opaque, and then
opaque.
it's completely transparent below. That would have required additional passes in the rendering.
I see.
Yeah, and it would have worked without the walls there. You wouldn't be able to pass through. So it would sort of look like an invisible force field. So that's why some of the blocks were added.
So that makes a lot of sense, and that's actually something that we all kind of saw in episode 4, right? I think Tom bumped into a lot of this.
Yes.
Yeah,
Tom would go down and he said, "Oh, there's a secret passage here, and there's an extra quick shortcut over here, and then there'd be a new version." And he was like, "Oh, you took out the secret passageway or the little shortcut there." And because some of the levels we missed some of those spots, and so as we found them, the level editors, there's a team of excellent level editors. So shout out to them for all their hard work. And they would go in and they would make the modifications to the levels that were needed.
I see Kako Demon Tube.
Yes.
Who says...
People worked on it, yeah.
Oh, interesting. So yeah, there was a team of guys that went in and modified the levels then to essentially... Oh yeah.
Yeah, from all over the world. The project
so cool.
is really done from all over the world. I'm in Toronto. There's Audi and Tom in Norway. You're in Germany. The level editors are literally from the United States, America, France, the Netherlands, all over.
Wow.
So these guys helped bring in all the missing levels. Not only does it have episode 4 now, it has the extra levels that were missing in the first place, which I believe you told us before was down to the original Super FX chip-based cartridges you could buy had like a limited amount of memory at the time, right?
Yeah, the
like
maximum
2 megs?
size that they allowed was 2 megabytes.
Right. That's what it was.
So one of the things that we did was to increase the amount of memory. So now the cartridge is a 4 megabyte cartridge with 3 megabytes that the Super FX side can use and 1 megabyte that the Super NES and 65816 side uses exclusively. So it's literally double the size.
That's fantastic.
We got a super chat from Polyester Pimp who said, "I'm glad Audi's out of the IGN jail." $19. Thank you so much. We'll try to read super chats live as they come in. If you have anything you want to say, it should be clarified really that like IGN did not.
No, they didn't prevent
They
it.
did not block my. This is coincidental that like I just have more ideas and more time, and we just kind of got them back together and gotten the band back together now to do more retro stuff.
Well, beyond that though, I mean, I don't want to say too much, but there were some limiting factors, I will say. Not
there was.
But yeah. Needless to say, those factors have dissipated.
So now you should be seeing a lot of the DF plays, new DF retro episodes. There was quite a few we started that man, I did this one in particular. I did so many recordings for that it's going to be a long one, but I also want to kind of focus more on writing smaller scripts that you and I can do for like specific
that would be fun
series and such, because the summer of 2021 is still fondly remembered for me when we did F-Zero and Super Star Wars.
2021, yeah, that was great.
So we want to get back to that page.
It's interesting though, Audi. It seems that from what Randy told us, like us talking about Doom with Randy in that interview some years ago is kind of like what triggered the creation of this new version in the first place.
Yeah, bring that up. Yeah.
It did. We did that interview, and then I guess Audi went back to Limited Run and said, got this idea. Let's do a new version of Doom, like an updated version for the Super NES. And then he sort of said, what do you think about this? And the rest is history, as they say. It was years ago.
I mean, it really is like a digital foundry project in the sense that like all of us, because I mean you hung out with us at like Gamescom and stuff, and kind of became unofficially part of some of the stuff, and but we all got back together here to do this, and it all started with that interview, and it was just from your mere mentions that like I think I could improve it, and I was
you still had all the source code and stuff, right? So
yeah, source code is there. Full Axe is a person that still is hungry and eager. That's the most important, right? It's like Randy still likes doing this stuff. It doesn't like I've worked with a lot of legacy talent that just because so many years have passed, going back to like the Amiga or going back to make music on a certain tracker, like they just kind of like it sounds fun and fairy, and then you get to the dance and they're like, oh man, I remember why I stopped doing this. And then so I was a bit nervous, but at the same time I also knew that like Josh Fairhurst at Limited Run is the only person crazy enough to just kind of go for it and go further than you ever thought you would, and that's a wonderful thing with him. So when I went to him with the idea, it didn't take any. It was
so
no
fun.
hesitation.
Just like, yep, do it. That's cool.
Yeah, it's like, why wouldn't we? And it's like, man, that's the response.
I agree.
So
that's a great response.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, and then I suggested the Rumble controller, and he was like, Super NES. I said, yeah, let's see what we can do, and Audi brought the team together. That between Retrobit and Limited Run and the technical stuff on my side, and made it happen.
So real quick, Randy, so one of the things I'm seeing in the chat, and I've seen a lot of people mention this, and I think we've tried to clarify it, but it's important. So yeah, the cartridge does have a Raspberry Pi in it. And the first thought about that is, oh, it's just running on the Raspberry Pi, that's why it's better. But in fact, that's not really the case. And in fact, spinning up like a custom ASIC these days just for a small print run of cartridges, that would have made this cost like $1,000 or something.
Yeah,
you can't do that. It's easy. So why don't you explain again how the Pi is actually utilized and why it really isn't running on the Pi per se?
Yeah, so here's the board.
Look at that.
There. And this one here is the Raspberry Pi. And as you can see, there's a whole bunch of other chips there. And the reason there's a whole bunch of other chips there is because it's emulating and simulating the Super FX chipset. So what it basically does is we take the Super FX code and I build that using the same tool chain that I used on the Amiga, although now I'm on a PC and I'm using WinUAE, and I build an actual .sfc Super Famicom binary ROM that I use for testing, and I use Messen for testing. Awesome. Shout out to Sauer for developing Messen. And so I do the development on that, and I've got an actual SFC that then gets passed to this preprocessor. And the preprocessor basically splits apart the actual Super FX code and data, and it generates C code. And the C code is then combined with the firmware, and I'll explain the firmware in a second. And that generates an executable that then runs on the Raspberry Pi itself. So as far as the 65816 side, the Super NES side is concerned, it's talking to a Super FX chip. It doesn't know that it's not talking to a Super FX chip. So the vast majority of the code that does all that communication is unchanged. It's the same logic that's running there. The firmware is the part of the, it's sort of, there's hardware, there's software, and in between those two is what I call firmware. And the firmware is what sort of lets the software talk to the hardware. It does things like the memory map. It does things like the chunky to planar pixel conversion. The Super Nintendo has, the way it stores its graphics is all sliced up into individual bit planes. And what happens is that's very, very slow to generate graphics and to process the graphics. So internally, what we do is we do it as all chunky now, and it gets converted back into planar form when the Super NES wants to do a DMA out from the Super FX RAM. There's a 128K of RAM that's double the size of the Super FX RAM that was used in the original Doom, and it still sits in the same memory place if anyone is on a technical bent, the technical stuff lists, here's the memory map, and here's the organization, and here's where things should fit, and all of that is emulated through the firmware, and it works. It allows us to write code straight out of Super FX instructions, and they, as I said, they get translated and converted into C. That gets turned into an assembly language program, which then gets built, combined with the firmware, and that's what's running on the Raspberry Pi. It's not the actual Doom game, it's the Super FX emulation of Super Nintendo Doom.
Yeah.
Does that sort of clarify it?
I think so.
Absolutely. And that's the best part about you, Randy, is that you managed to explain these things in ways that people actually understand, because a lot of that information is kind of heavy, but I got all
it's very, very techy. We partnered with Bitmap Bureau because they're the experts on the hardware. So I'm still amazed at the hardware. I'm a software guy, and the fact that we've now got this cartridge, this really neat looking cartridge with this high tech chip and all the memory and the level converters and all that stuff on it, it's amazing. It's very amazing what they've done.
Now, we got a super chat while you were talking from, if you can scroll up, Tom, so I can read it.
Oh, is that from Nash?
That's from Nash Honda.
Yeah, friend of the show. He does great work. I like his stuff.
So, greetings, John, Audi, Randy, and Tom. Randy, if you could travel back in time for only 2 hours, would you tell 90s Randy about developing this game? P.S. Digital Foundry rules.
What would you tell past Randy about this? Ooh, that's a tricky one.
You know, I wouldn't. And here's why.
Oh, okay.
Because younger me wouldn't be as hungry or work as hard if he knew that 30 years later he was going to get the chance to fix and tweak and adjust and improve. It would be like, okay, this doesn't do that quite right, and this is something else that's not there and is missing, and that's okay because in 30 years' time I'll get to fix it. This way, stayed hungry.
Yeah.
It was actually tricky to have to go back and revisit some of my code, and the code it's on GitHub, and we'll release the code for this new version of Doom on GitHub as well. But the original Doom is on GitHub, and it's, as people can see, it's fairly well commented code. And I still had to scratch my head and think, gee, why was I doing this in this order and this other step here? And then all of a sudden it would sort of click and it would make sense. But there was a lot of revisiting, like Audi was saying, with the musicians that have to go back and use an 8-bit tracker on the Amiga. This was very much like that, but I had the advantage of tools like the FX Pack Pro and Messen. So
debugging got a lot easier.
Oh,
And Messen has a real good debugger. So.
Yes, debugging is an absolute dream with Messen. It allows me to. I modified my tool chain so that it could output the source level debug information and symbol information in the Mason format, just because it was so powerful and so cool to use. So I could single step the SuperFX code and examine exactly what was going on.
Yeah, I still dabble in some ROM hacking and fan translation on my spare time, and I use Messen, so you won't get my username, but I still do sometimes. So.
Man, the thing, I gotta tell this, because this is always one of my favorite Randy stories. When we first were talking about this project, when I was helping you a little bit with the videos, images for the videos, one of the comments you made along there, and this is the most Randy thing, was like, you didn't want to have to mess with Premiere, Photoshop, any of those programs. Like, those are just a pain in the butt. And your idea instead was, let me just code up a tool real quick to get the thing I need from that image, basically.
Yes.
And that is the most Randy thing ever. It's like, I'm not going to use this already written piece of software that's used around the world. I'm just going to make my own real quick, just to do the tasks that I need. And I love it. It's so good.
Yeah, the videos turned out pretty nice. It was going to be a surprise because I had sort of started working on it, and I optimized the code and tweaked it, but I had no idea how to get the actual video source material.
Right.
And so I think you said use Downloader 4K?
No, well, that's for just extracting YouTube videos.
Yeah. So I went to get it from YouTube. So the videos that run at the beginning of the game were extracted from YouTube. And then I had this video file, and I said to you, I sort of want to make this as a surprise when they boot the cartridge at limited run. Can you get this into a format where it's just the individual graphics files?
Yep.
And you said, sure.
And we did it.
And we did it. Yeah. And it looks pretty good.
Yeah, it's just insanity all around.
That's the thing about those videos. Like, usually when people see corporate logos, it's not exciting by any stretch, but I think it's very fun to see it in a Super NES game, because it's really not something that was done back then. Like, the closest thing we had to it was on Mega Drive. Traveler's Tales did that Sonic 3D Blast video stuff, which was
and
also.
Then later on, you had like Pokemon Puzzle on N64, which had some animated sequences.
Well, sure, N64's the cartridge was gigantic, right? Compared to, like, it was small compared to CD, but compared to like Super NES, the amount of data you had to work with was nuts.
Yes. So this stuff is all highly compressed, and people are thinking, well, why didn't you put in more textures or more levels or something? And the answer is because it's coming out of the 1 megabyte that's for the Super NES side only. The memory map that I designed only allows for 3 megabytes of data, and it's full.
Right.
So the videos are actually sort of a nice bonus.
Exactly. It doesn't take anything from the Super FX data. I was asking you about some other texture stuff, and you quickly estimated that you have maybe 1 kilobyte free.
Yeah, the current build, there's about 1K free, which is better than the original Doom, which had like 16 bytes free.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh.
Oh yeah, the original Doom had 16 bytes free, and yeah, this one has got a little bit more free, but not enough to do something cool with it.
Right. Yeah, 1K, not a whole lot.
No, not within the constraints of what is Super NES Doom. I couldn't really add a lot of new stuff.
Not at all.
John, which controller are you playing this with?
I'm actually, because of where the Super NT is in my room, I'm actually using I think it's the SN30, the 8-bit DOE
Okay. You're using,
wireless pad, so I can connect it without the wire.
so, because one of the things I wanted to talk a little bit about was the Rumble, because that, I feel like it's been doing pretty well. I know, and also the community has been, yeah, there you go. The community has been really active in getting games ready for the release of it.
That's true.
And it is a very dynamic way of playing Super Nintendo games, because like it's not just a simple motor; it has a lot of nuance to it, more so than you would expect. The motors are very good, especially in Doom, with the way you did it. I think you used did you use audio files to determine it? Randy?
No, they're actually hand coded, but you would
Hand-coded.
think they're audio files because it sort of does waveforms.
Right.
Yeah.
There's left and right motors, and it has 15 levels of intensity for each of the motors. So, for example, when you fire the shotgun, you can feel the shotgun fire more on the right side. Then there's the recoil, there's the ejection of the shell, and then there's the reload that happens more on the left side. So it's sort of a thunk, chick, chick, chick kind of
It's
movement.
insane.
It's
like,
amazing.
It's just insane
It
that
really
you get
is.
that kind of complex rumble. The Super
Yeah,
Nintendo.
it's pretty neat. The Retrobit did an awesome job on the hardware. Again, I'm a software guy, so the hardware I'm constantly impressed and amazed with. And
It feels good too. Yeah, I mean the form factor of it is good.
Yeah.
And it's one of those things where, even though it's done well, but like it's so hard to promote because like it's a rumble controller and it's like for a system that never had it.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
like, how do we demonstrate that? And a lot of the people we sent the cartridge and controller out to have done a very good job.
Okay.
Like Joe Redford put it in his pants.
Oh, did he now?
Yeah, he sure did. So,
Joe.
you know, there's different ways of demonstrating it. So, but yeah, I do hope that people really enjoy Doom with that rumble controller. Also, community has been, I think, Starpox has it ready. Mario Kart.
Mario Kart, Castlevania.
Wait, really?
There's a
Wow.
whole bunch of titles that are going to have Rumble support, because limited run. Josh is forward thinking on this, and he said release all this information because he knew that I had released the Doom source on GitHub, and he said, well, why don't we do the same thing? Let's release the information about the Rumble controller. Let's release the code. Let's release the specs and the hardware details for the Super FX3 that we've got. Let's sort of release all this information. And he said, help out people to bring on the Rumble support.
Right.
So I've been in contact with a number of the people like Kando and Infidelity and Sunlit Space. They're awesome. They got the Rumble up and running. It was like an evening, and all of a sudden, there was Rumble, and I was like, wow, that's very impressive.
It really does add a new dimension, especially Star Fox. We were playing that when it came out.
Yeah.
It's just like it's a simple thing, but it just adds
It's a really nice controller. I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah, it feels good. It's got great, as you said, it's got great ergonomics, and it's got Rumble.
Yeah.
Which is really nice.
Got a super chat from Foxy Ryan X, $5 says that's good job. We'll send that over to Randy. He's the man of the hour.
Exactly.
And people are saying you're a living legend, Randy. And
He is. So humble.
we haven't even
too.
touched Dragon Slayer on Amiga. So.
Oh man.
See what else is there. I started with some other questions. I'll get to one of the things when working on this project that again kind of gets lost in the weeds because it's not really forward facing, but like getting the right people on the hardware side for this was a nightmare.
yeah.
I don't think even the company that I worked for realized, because there was so much specificness to this where
Yeah.
you couldn't just use anything off the shelf. And we had to, I remember sending emails and trying to get quotes on parts, because we were going in a different direction at the beginning. We were looking at FPGA,
Yes.
we were looking at just this like a new custom chip,
Yep.
and had some other things. And I was sending emails out to manufacturers and people that we knew in the industry and the community, and just everything that came back, I had to sit there and do the math on them. And I'm not a math guy. And I was sitting down, it's like, man,
Wait.
I don't
You
know
say
if I
you're not
can-
a math guy, but look at your shirt. I beg to differ.
Sure, I did do the math. When I want to play great games, I do the math. And but I just remember I would get quotes back, and then when running the numbers per unit, consumer-wise, it would be like, $350 per cartridge before packaging and manufacturing. I was like, I don't know. that feels a little bit risky for me. And then it was just kind of on an evening one day, I got a box in the mail, and it was from our friend the Bitmap Bureau.
The
And
bitmap.
they had sent me the Super Famicom cartridge of Xenocrisis.
Yes.
And I asked Matt, like, how you did this? And they were like, oh, Mike, we just made a new chip. And I was like, you did what? All right, let's talk. So I got them in touch, and that turned out to be like a dream combination, because like Matt over at Bitmap and Randy are very similar in how they approach things.
Exactly.
So seeing those chats kind of blossom was a very interesting experience. Yeah, I mean, that's how the Raspberry Pi solution came, because I just remember kind of reading the technicalities into this, and I was like, you're doing what? And then when we finally started seeing the test boards, I was like, oh, okay, like this actually works.
Yes.
'Cause I remember being a bit nervous because you were testing the game at this point.
Hmm.
So the way this was tested, for people to understand, the way this was tested prior to the cartridges being manufactured was that Randy would generate a binary, and then Tom would put it on his FX Pack Pro
Yes.
and run it on stock Super Nintendo. And that didn't have that obviously didn't have the emulation of the FX3 chip that Randy was implementing. So this was only running on like some improvements that came from the FX Pack Pro backend, I think.
Yeah.
But it was not at all what
It was
Why was it-
I
yeah,
remember
I mean-
testing the FX Pro Pack Pro versions.
Yeah,
That-
you remember it.
Yeah, it was honestly kind of scary.
It wasn't great
Yeah.
yet.
I just remember you were like playing the Nightmare stuff and like those levels, and you were sending
Yeah.
messages like,
Episode 4.
yeah,
Yeah.
I was, Ryan was like, no, it's totally fine. It's
it will
gonna
be
run.
fine.
Yeah, it's
It
totally
will
fine,
run
be
fine. I
but
swear.
I was like, I don't know. It was scary.
So when you started testing, what was your thoughts? Kind of like, were you familiar with Doom?
I have always loved Doom and Quake and all these games. I haven't played them so much, but I
Yeah.
always loved them.
Wait,
I mean,
how
like,
can you
when I
always love
played-
it without playing it?
Well, I have tried it, and I love the ideas, and I played old school games.
Well, you and I
Uh,
played the PlayStation Doom after school, like when it came out. So I knew you were familiar with that version at least.
Yeah,
that's
I mean,
that's a good version actually.
Right.
I have played Doom.
And you had
Oh,
Doom
okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
You're just not like a hardcore sicko about Doom like some of us.
No, I'm not. I'm
Okay,
not.
that's
I
fair.
just love just how Doom, just like how big
There it is.
became, and just the old school FPS.
Right.
Wolfenstein and Doom,
Off
Quake.
the hill.
It's just awesome.
So how was it when you started working on it then?
Well, honestly, I was approached and I was like, "Wait, what? You want me to test it?" And I was like, "Oh, hands on." I so want to do this.
The reason why, I mean, first of all, you're a very good tester. For anyone out there looking for a very detailed tester, this guy is pretty nuts. But it also would require working across time zones. So and you're very much someone that like jumps out of bed and is like, all right, do it.
I mean, I was testing like nights, weekends,
And
just,
you're just
anytime.
And you're very persistent. I knew Randy needed someone that like, I have a build, please check it.
Yeah.
And come back to me with full reports. And so
Mhm.
I knew that like, okay, we need someone that kind of matches this craziness.
Yeah, and I had to sit through episode 4, the entire episode, on the FX Pack Pro.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's
no,
rough.
And it was the FPS was
Very low.
horrible. Let's just say horrible. And I had to sit through it, and when I was done, my whole life ended up in that FPS.
Yeah. Where the room was spinning.
Oh god.
Yeah, it was like 5 FPS mostly. It felt like.
Yeah, it was
It
very
was
difficult.
slow.
Actually, you know what? We should go look at the 4th episode. Let's do that. Hold on. Hit reset over here.
When I tried
Okay,
it,
well, we're gonna reveal a big secret here. If y'all are paying attention, I don't know. Is this okay, Randy? Can we reveal the
Yeah.
secret? Here we go.
If it is what I think it is, then
Oh
yes.
yeah. Okay, here we go. If you get frustrated and you need to try other levels, boom. So we're gonna go to. Actually, I didn't really need to do that because I could have just started from the main
You
menu.
just
Or whatever.
started it before I'm on there.
Oh well,
Yeah.
it was just to reveal the secret. So, episode 4. This obviously did not exist in Super NES Doom, and the thing about this episode is, I believe it was made after Doom 2, and as a result, there's a lot more complex stuff going on in these episodes that I think made this extra challenging to bring to Super NES. But in the end, not only does it work, but it's the same like locked 20 FPS, which, as we found out recently, is smoother than like playing this game on a 486 66 megahertz. Now, on the 486 could look better than this, for sure, right?
Yeah.
Higher resolution, but the frame rate wasn't always that. It was less stable, shall we say?
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
every other contemporary console port was also way worse than this. Jaguar Doom was the closest to being great, but even that does not maintain 20 FPS, which is its max cap.
Yeah, this engine runs at 20 max. That's
And
because of the amount of data that has to be transferred to the
Right.
Video RAM. It's one of the hard limitations. It's about 30 and change K of data, so it's about 10 or 11K per frame. So it does it in thirds of the display, and it does a third, another third, and then the last one, it flips the page and does the last third, because there isn't enough VRAM to store a double buffer. So it's sort of like a 1 2/5 buffer. It's sort of
Amazing.
in the weird zone there. But that's why the maximum frame rate is what it is at 20 frames per second.
And John, I think if I remember correctly, because of the way Randy originally did Doom on Super Nintendo, it actually has like the architecture that the Jaguar Doom ports are missing, right?
Right, because like exactly, Randy, you actually pulled back then. You pulled data from the PC game WAD, whereas
Yes.
Jaguar Doom and all the other subsequent console ports, basically Carmack and id guys did the Jaguar version themselves, and they modified the geometry to simplify it to run better on consoles, and that's what everybody else used as the basis for their versions. This
Yes.
one actually uses the PC level geometry. It's obviously missing floor and ceiling textures, and it's missing those transparency like fence things, but
Yeah.
Great.
otherwise. And I guess some modifications ended up having to be done to solve for those problems, right? Like walls added where they previously weren't because, missing objects. But otherwise, even
Yeah,
stuff like the
there's a
tree
couple of other
sprites made
things.
it.
Yeah, there's a couple of other things that it's missing, like the monsters don't hear you. So the monsters need line of sight in order to be awoken.
Right.
Um,
So if you just
So
fired a weapon,
sometimes-
they don't just activate.
right, exactly.
Oh, I
They sort of
forget. Does does this have the monsters only have their front facing sprites?
Yes. Monsters
Right,
only have their front facing. So even though they might be facing away from you, it'll look like they're facing you.
Right. So
That's
that's
also
just
a memory limitation.
yeah, and I think other versions had this problem as well. It was pretty. Again, it really comes down to like memory stuff. Like this is miraculous, but it's still a Super NES fundamentally.
Exactly. It's a Super NES, and that's why I didn't want to just, with the hardware that we've got today, I didn't want to just put Doom compiled for the Raspberry Pi and shuffle video data over. That would be cheating.
Yeah, I mean, at that
Exactly.
point, you can just play, you know, the new Night Dive ports, right? Like, if
Yeah.
you want to play it, that's what. But this is part of the charm of playing it on the console is that there are these differences. It just plays much better now than it ever did.
Yes.
Exactly. It's quite playable now. Also, just having circle strafing, just to be able to move, because in the original, if you use strafe at all, it would just lock the motion control, like the actual movement. So like it was very, very rigid feeling.
Yeah.
This is much better.
This feels a lot smoother.
It
It's
really
it's super interesting. But yeah, this man.
I see that the person that did the conversion for this level, Mike C.
Oh yeah.
He's in the chat.
Oh,
So,
Cool.
and more people from the team here.
This level's brutal, man. It really
Mike
is.
and Captain Demon Tube have been testing the latest stuff and getting it there. Yeah.
Excellent. We also, for all the new stages, there was also, well, not for all the new stages, but for some of the stages, there were the music tracks that were now originally made that we actually had made now for this version. So there's new music, new Doom music in this version that wasn't the original. And that was, man, I remember you and I was real nervous about this because, like, game audio is like
so hard.
and it's real hard. And I was curious how we were gonna get this through because either it was gonna stick out like a sore thumb, or like I hate when immersion is taken out of me because like the sound font would be different or any kind of. I was really kind of like, man, what are we doing here, Randy? But you found the guy.
I can't freaking do that stupid jump. The movement. It's so hard on this, man. So if you want extra challenge, play SNES Doom.
May I just say that when you run up the stairs there for the jump, you did that on the FX Pack Pro, it was impossible.
I know.
Next to impossible.
I remember trying that too.
You made it there.
Yeah, and I got the plasma gun here at last.
I mean, you managed to like kind of.
I did manage to run over, but I could never stop on the platforms.
And you actually did kind of get good at the FX Pack Pro version. I was like, I couldn't even look at it. I got motion sick. Like
that version,
and you were just like, I've been through this. I've been through it, man. I don't care anymore. Sitting there with cigarette stuff, just like drinking beer, it's playing it. You don't.
Oh yeah. Do you remember like so? The plasma rifle, obviously, you had to tweak the way that worked because in the original it puts out too many sprites.
Yeah, well, it's all rendered, but yeah, everything had to be adjusted. It was a process, and some of the stuff was, as Audi has mentioned, was adjusted after we sent out the prototype cartridges. We sent them out as sort of two things: one to show the quality, the really high quality and attention to detail, and two was to sort of get feedback and say, you know, this is a prototype, so we're gonna make some tweaks, but what do you think about this? What, you know, how does it compare? Is this a product that you'd like to see more of? And so far that's been successful.
Yeah. I mean, alongside John, like I mentioned, Joe Redford from GameSack, Video Game Esoterica, like they've provided a ton of great feedback, and I was really John Riggs. I was really happy to see just the engagement we got from those guys, and like how much they invested into making this a better product for everyone, and that was really fun to see because like obviously we're friends with these people and we admire them for their videos, but like they also know their chops when it comes to kind of improving the experience for everyone.
Yeah. It was great to be able to make the changes and get the feedback, because we had sort of kept everything inside our tight circle at LRG and id and Bethesda, and outside of the playtest that we did at Quakecon last year,
which was on the FX Pack Pro, right?
Yeah, it was on the FX Pack Pro. Outside of that, we sort of had limited the testing, and so it was a great opportunity to get feedback and to make some important improvements.
It was funny because when you went to QuakeCon, like John just mentioned, it was Super FX Pack Pro, which was not indicative of what the final results were going to be on the actual chip. But we were still getting people coming up to you and sending us messages saying, like, I can't believe how much improved this is. Like, this is, take my money. And you're like, oh boy, man, you haven't seen anything yet.
Yeah.
And so that was kind of funny to see that, like, it was going to exceed any expectations that people would have.
Yeah.
So there's someone in the chat, Randy, that's saying, can I ask something about Bleemcast? Of course. You can ask anything about Bleemcast. You have Mr. Bleem right here.
Absolutely. So I guess
we await that. Also, Chex Quest, which are you familiar with Chex Quest?
Oh my God, Chex Quest for Super NES. That would be something.
Exactly. Chex Quest is next on the list. No kidding.
No.
Well, I mean, if this does well, you've said many times.
Well, then yeah, we'll look at other engine titles that. That would be a great opportunity to work on other titles that were similar, technology.
So there is a Cyber Demon up here. I thought so.
Is this a rated R stream?
Yeah, dude, we're independent now. I can use cursors.
Oh, that's true. Fuck it.
Oh, okay.
So,
there we go. I died. Let's level skip.
Yeah, let's do it. Randy, this is not confirming anything. We are now just independent dudes sitting here streaming. What's kind of like on the top of your list that you would want to port to this new FX3 if you had a choice?
But Doom 2, definitely.
Okay.
Definitely Doom 2.
Cool.
I would make a couple of tweaks and a couple of changes to the memory map. So we would look at an 8 meg cartridge, because we would need the additional space. I would look at adding the rotations of the players. I would look at floors and ceiling textures. If I get a third bite of the apple, and then sort of improve a whole bunch of other little things that.
There we go.
Yeah.
A third bite of the apple.
Exactly as you are probably explaining, this stream is on a bit of a delay. Exactly as you're saying that, Randy, NR in this chat saying, what about Doom 2 on Super Nintendo? Randy, could it be done? You just answered it. So.
Yes.
Doom 2 with floor textures, Randy. And MSU1 support. Please make it happen.
It needs to be on the box.
Yes.
With floor textures.
With floors.
Behold the power of floors and ceilings.
Exactly. Well, they had a lot to it, but I think
I don't know after a while, honestly. I find it kind of. I mean, I'm not a doomer like John and such, but like after
doomer.
I just don't notice anymore.
I mean, it's quite playable without it. I would agree, but. I would like to see the floors.
I can't play this game without a ceiling. What are you talking about?
I will say, what's interesting is that the gradient in some levels, due to how it works, like if you look at it here, it's parallaxing against it. It almost can look like it's a sky.
Somewhat.
Yeah.
Right.
It can.
So it can kind of change the impression of the warehouse levels. Sandy Peterson's Dungeons of Heck.
Yes.
The worst levels in the game, but Doom's a classic, but not. I'm not a big fan of Sandy's. He was this guy that he always tried to do like more realistic levels. It comes from the same school of thought as like, hey, I'm gonna make my school in the Doom engine, which I did, so I get it. But they were just more pedestrian, less interesting. Whereas I feel like John Romero's levels were just far more like they were like these little. They're like an onion, like a puzzle box that you unwrap, and like all the cool stuff just comes out little bit by bit, and it's so really interesting. The design, it holds up very well.
There's a method to his madness, like which, having played much more Doom now than I ever have before, I'm definitely noticing the differences between who designed stages. Is the guy you mentioned just John? Is that the guy that I'm probably bringing up stuff that I don't know, has nothing to do with the episode? But there's a guy on Twitter that like Romero always has to.
Oh yeah, yep, that's Sandy.
Okay.
It's like, absolutely, it's Sandy
hello,
Peterson.
Nice to talk to you again. Like, here's the actual.
Hi, Sandy. Hope you're well.
Yeah, hope you're well.
That's what it is. And he always corrects him. It's good times.
Someone's saying in the chat, Randy, that you're working on a flawless port of Crisis on the Game Boy. I'm inclined to believe them. Prove me wrong.
Exactly. Well, I did the version of Quake for Game Boy Advance.
Yeah.
Yes.
Did that ever got released? Did it?
Well, not as an actual. Well, I want to say not as an actual game.
Right.
But I did release the binary for it.
Ah, right. So it is technically out there, just not like oh man.
It is more of a here's what could have been. I did the same thing with that I did with the original Doom, and that is I sort of did it on my own part-time as a proof of concept. And then once it was operational, brought it into Sculptured, and then Sculptured then brought it to id Software and said, hey, we'd like to make this into a finished product. And I sort of was going down that same road with what was going to be Quake on Game Boy Advance. But the Game Boy Advance sort of died a very precipitous death.
It went down pretty quick, didn't it?
It did.
Nintendo killed it off fast. It's a nice machine too, but like they just switched to the DS very quick.
Yeah.
It's the third pillar.
Yep.
But you also made the Quake GBA demo turned into your own FPS that you released.
Yeah.
Right.
It did. It's called Cyboid, and it's got levels that I licensed from a whole bunch of people, and it's got downloadable monsters and items and weapons and all that kind of stuff, and it was ported from the Game Boy Advance to Symbian Nokia phones.
Okay.
And then I did it for the iPod. And then finally I ported it over, and it runs on Amazon Fire TV Stick, Fire tablets. Yeah.
I always kind of promised you that, like, to my dying day, one way I will get you to port that to consoles.
Yes. It's a Quake 2 level engine technology, so it's not the latest and greatest by a long shot. But if you like retro Quake 2 caliber 3D first-person shooters, then
I do.
It's a lot of fun.
I love those.
Yeah.
You have one customer already.
Split screen on a Fire TV stick. A 1995 or 2495 Fire TV stick. It can run 2-player split screen full 3D.
I think my dream project would be a Randy take using that engine on a Fire TV stick for him to essentially remake I think it's the 1985 classic Pee-wee's Big Adventure.
Oh my god.
But like a 3D first-person shooter version. I don't know. I think that sounds great. You up for it, Randy?
Absolutely. I'll add it to my list.
Ideas, because Randy doesn't say no.
Yes.
Someone's mentioning My House SNES, so I believe.
I don't think that's not possible.
My House runs on like GZ Doom or something. That's like a modified.
Correct. It's specifically designed. There's my life. It's made for GZ Doom because it does a lot of stuff that, like, part of the appeal is that it does stuff that the Doom engine can't do.
Yes. A lot of the triggers and the teleports and secrets.
Like right when I first played it, I think the first thing that really caught my attention was like when you first go outside and you go around the house and you suddenly realize, wait a minute, there's slopes in the garden. Doom Engine can't do slopes. And it's just like there weren't slopes before, but now there's slopes. Like those moments were like mind blowing to me.
Yeah, I was playing it at your place the first time I saw. You were like, "Hey, play this."
Oh
And
yeah.
then, like, yeah, little by little, I was like, "Doom? Like, what is this?"
It's an amazing piece of game.
You read the book it was based on, didn't you?
Yeah.
House of Leaves. Yep.
Yeah. I didn't finish it. But
Because you were watching it with me, and you were like, "This is House of Leaves," and I was like, "God, you got it that quickly."
Yeah, Narvison Records sign. I was like, "Oh my God, it's House of Leaves." That was so much fun.
So this is the level with you fixed it. Wait.
He fixed it. He shot at. What about that, John? What about that Sonic Robo?
Sonic Robo Blast?
Yeah. What?
I'm pretty sure it's also GC Doom.
Is GC Doom? All right. I was gonna say because someone's porting that to Furry 2X.
Because whoa. I mean, it could be possible to adapt it, but GZ Doom itself is like a pretty cool engine, basically. Like there's games like Sulaco runs on that, and that's an actual retail product. It's a great game, by the way.
Yeah.
But GZ Doom itself has evolved into like its own like Doom adjacent engine that's like really powerful and cool. So if you like want a retro aesthetic but like a little more freedom than the Doom engine originally offered, it's like a really cool solution.
I use Chocolate Doom for testing.
Oh, right.
Instead of GZ Doom because it's much more strict and it sort of adheres to the bare minimum.
Right. Okay, this just highlighted one of the issues without the floor is like this room is full of lava, but you can't really tell because it's like kind of muted red. So you just start getting hurt as soon as you walk in there. So you know,
it's not very
real. It's not realistic. In real life, if you stepped into this lava, you would be dead immediately.
Evaporate. So someone's saying that the Sonic Robo Blast is actually Legacy Doom.
Oh no way! Really? That's awesome. Okay. Which I mean, that on SNES that would probably not be a great match, but I guess it's technically feasible.
Yeah.
Maybe. Yeah. I mean, I guess realistically though, this. I mean, what we're playing here isn't actually the Doom engine, though. It should be noted, right? Like, this is your engine, Randy. Like, you're simulating the behavior of Doom using your own engine.
Yes.
Because I think Doom engine itself would not run on a Super NES.
No, it would not. It would not, definitely. And yes, this is my own engine that was developed by reverse engineering the Doom engine and predominantly the Doom engine data format. I used a document from Matthew Fell called the Unofficial Doom Specs, and it sort of laid out here's the data formats and here's how all the structures fit together. So I basically reverse engineered the super effects, the hardware development system, put together a software development system, and then reverse engineered Doom in order to make what I call the reality engine.
Yeah.
And you have this, you can do proper Super NES style color math there. So you get that true transparency effect, which the PC version can't do that.
Yes.
Wow. It's interesting, Randy, because like this is like a while ago, and I think I showed it to you, but I was trying to track down. This is right after, I think it was during our interview for Digital Foundry, the one that led to all this, and we have been talking so much about like the ramp up to the release of that original Doom version, and I was looking around, and I found out that Ocean in France specifically had released a VHS tape of like the making of Doom Super Nintendo. And there's like an interview on there that's dubbed over in French. I don't know if you speak French in real life, being Canadian. But like, a bit, yeah. So, but I just remember I found that and I was showing it to you. Like, do you remember any of this? And you were like, yeah, kind of.
That's so funny.
Yeah. I remember they came to the sculptured offices one day,
Yeah.
And did an interview, but I have no recollection of what I said or what the questions were. But they were asking about. They were asking, and they were asking questions in English.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I understood the questions and gave them the answers. But yeah, it's somewhere online.
With a beard at that time.
Pardon?
I found a picture of you with a beard when I was.
Oh yeah, with a goatee.
Yeah,
yes,
I know. Now I'm not
no.
not rocking it anymore. It just never grew in. It was just like patchy and
kind of like this.
Yeah.
Exactly. I could never.
You look like Dracula from the Castlevania anime.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, I don't know if that's a compliment or not.
So what was the Doom scene like in Norway then? Like, you guys played the console ports, but what was like the PC situation like?
I remember my neighbor up the street. He was a couple of years older than my big brother. My brother is 7 years older than me, so he was like 10 years older than me. Okay. But we would go up there sometimes because he was like the PC guy of my street.
Oh yes, you had a PC guy on the street.
I had a PC guy, very much, kind of like you now. But like he kind of similar, kind of that era as John Linden. He had everything the newest and stuff, and he was showing me the Doom, and I just remember being floored the first time I saw it. But what I remember most was just like how scary it was. I remember it as a horror game because I was just like, I was young, and I had never seen anything that visceral on a screen before that you could interact with. But he actually talked to us about the LAN, which at that point I had never, this is way before the internet, but this was like 1994. But he was going to the Gathering and such eventually, which is like the biggest LAN party in the world, I think.
Holy shit! Yeah,
it was. It was in the upside down Viking ship.
Yeah,
you remember the Gathering? You didn't go there, but
no.
I've heard about the Gathering.
Yeah. And I remember that Doom was like, until CS came around, Doom was like the thing. So it was huge. Doom was huge.
It was a big thing.
I remember that there was like a Doom community in the sense that like you either knew or you didn't, but like the people who knew about Doom they were part of it. And they were very connected, and they were in the boards on the Amiga and such, talking about it and wondering. I remember one of the first things I remember about it was someone talking to me about how Doom was going to come to the Amiga, and I was like, oh, and that was not the case. But they were adamant. It was kind of one of my first kind of my uncle at whatever it tells me this is going to happen.
Well, so maybe they saw a preview for Alien Breed 3D and got confused.
Maybe, in that little square. I mean, hey, Team 17 did great, awesome stuff. Alien Breed is awesome, especially the ones before the 3D game. But I was a huge Amiga kid, so
Yeah, but it's not great at 3D.
No.
It's really not what it's meant for.
No, RoboCop 3 is cool, but not more on rails. Well, the driving section, whatever. But yeah, so Doom was big in Norway, in Scandinavia in general. I mean, that's the thing. When you say Norway, especially back in the 90s, you have to connect Denmark and Sweden to all that talk.
True.
Because like it was that interconnected, and like the Amiga scene between Denmark and Sweden and Norway, that demo scene. And Finland, it's still active. Like Björn Lind, who did the music for a ton of stuff, Worms including, lives in our city, and like he was.
Oh, that's cool.
I'm seeing someone in the chat. His name is Audi Sorlie, and he's asking Audi, why do you call yourself Audi? You have such a cool name. Yes, I agree with you. My real name is Audi, but. Very quick why I call myself Audi is that I used to live in Brazil, and no one could say my name. And I remember that my girlfriend at the time, her parents were just like at the dinner table, and they were like, "We can't say your name." And he was so frustrated. Her dad was so frustrated. Like, I cannot say your name. New name. And I was like, new name? He's like, new name. And I was like, something easy? And he's like, yes. I was like, Jack? And so when I lived in Brazil, I was known as Jack for some time. And I don't look like a Jack. I don't talk like a Jack.
You do not look like a
I certainly
Jack.
don't make love like a Jack.
Oh.
So it was just not a good fit for me. And then it was just kind of like, well, Audi, like the car, people know the car, and it's close enough. So,
They
and
do.
I think your cousin, his brother, Tor, I used to hang out with Tom's family, like cousins and such too, and he used to call me like Audi Buren, like he added like a second name I don't have.
Yeah,
He always did that. So I think that was
That's really
also kind
funny.
of part of why I was like, okay, well, I'll pick Audi. So.
But Audi is good though.
Yeah. Now, I mean, only my mom calls me my full name, so that's my tax name.
Although my son occasionally calls you your full name. Because he thinks it's
Yes,
funny
your
to
son
do
is
that.
one of the few people who come up and says it pretty well, by the way. And it's just like, yes, like, and I like it is just instinctively in me that like if people say my real name, especially if they speak to me in English, doing so, I kind of like they must have something important to say to me. And like, so it's always like when your son says it, like, what, sir? What can I do for
It's
you?
like, yes, how can I help you?
How can I assist you in this day we're at?
That's good.
Yes, every time we mention Brazil, anywhere, you will learn this now. Anytime you mention Brazil, they come out. All of them come out at the same time. They're like, hey, oi, Brazil, to the bay. And they go crazy, and it's a wonderful place, a wonderful country, and wonderful people. I did miss it. So, Yuzo Koshiro went down to Brazil a few weeks ago.
Yeah, he was just there, wasn't he?
It's very,
And they were so welcoming for him. I think he had a great time.
He's a legend there. I mean, when I lived there was in 2005, way before I knew Yuzo myself. But I do remember that like Streets of Rage 2 music and such would be playing, and they paid out us stores. Like,
I mean, the Mega Drive was big in Brazil. Yeah, I mean that's always the talk, right? Master System, Mega Drive. It lasted a long time there.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh shoot, I'm in trouble.
We got the Cade Squirrel with a super chat saying, "What clap is clap up, clap gamers?"
Not much. Just playing some Doom.
Playing some Super Nintendo Doom here on the last day of sales. If you do want to pick this up, you can go to limitedrungames.com. These are the last hours to pick up a physical copy.
Yeah.
Got it.
Kind of the only way we'll be able to play it, just due to how like bespoke this is to the hardware it's running on. So
I don't have the freaking blue key either. Oh man, this episode 4 really is it's a thing.
It's a hard one. Huh?
It's pretty brutal at times. Yeah, and I don't play it too often. I usually play whenever I replay Doom. I always play Doom 2, and then I really enjoyed both sigils that John Romero did.
Yeah,
they have banging soundtracks.
On your shirt. So,
yep.
Someone here is saying Digital Foundry should ask Randal Linden about how he ported the Laserdisc game Dragon Slayer so it could run from floppy disk to Amiga. So we actually did a video on this.
Yep.
You can search in the archives and you get. I edited that with like examples and everything, so you can see the full story come to life. Also, the Ozone Nightmare, which is a long time.
Oh yeah, long time. Ozone, what's up, my man?
Awesome seeing DF live stream hot on the heels of the news that the team has gone independent. Also, never a bad time seeing Doom in action. The retro renaissance continues.
It sure do. So I've seen a few people comment on the lack of a PAL version for this. Also, I'm wondering about like the Japanese version or something. Like, what is there any plans for that, or is it just for now just straight NTSC?
This is the NTSC version. So this is a question that has nothing to do with me or my department. So I don't know, honestly. I think it would be cool. I will say though that like, and you've tested it previously. So converter or through just putting the actual board into your PAL Super Nintendo, this runs very well.
Yeah, it runs very well.
Yeah,
That's right. I tried that too in 50 hertz mode. It does work.
So it is slightly, slightly slower.
Hey, who wants to see it right now? Let's do that.
Yeah, you can do it through the settings.
Because since I'm using a Super NT, I should be able to do it.
Just as a collector, I love having regional variations of games. So I would like to see it. Just So, especially Japanese version, just through the VHS layout box. So.
Oh yeah, now I can definitely see it's running in PAL mode, which means it's now 18 FPS instead of 20 or like something like that, like 17
way higher than the original.
So yeah,
very good.
And there is no like lockout or anything on it, so like you can just use the cart on a PAL Super NES and it will boot just fine. It just runs, And if you're running 50 hertz, this is what you get in terms of speed, which is still a lot better than the original.
Yeah.
But let me go back and switch this back to it was in their heart system.
Hey Vivi, do you have Guppy over there? You can find him.
I think it's outside.
Maybe you can have Guppy say hi to the stream before.
Oh yeah.
Guppy the fish.
Guppy.
Guppy. Yeah, Amiga Dragon Slayer had a major impact on video games in general. It inspired Eric Chahi to create Another World, which I've talked about extensively, being my favorite game of all time.
Oh, you moved this wall up, I see.
Surprise!
So that's the one Tom was talking about, wasn't it? Yep.
It's one of them, yeah.
Because, so this is an example. In the original map version of this, they use this transparent grating there to block off that area. So they basically had to insert these walls here, but the original wasn't high enough, so you could kind of like get your way up there when you weren't supposed to.
Yeah.
And it worked. But yeah, it's kind of a hack. But that's the kind of changes required though to make this work.
Mm-hmm.
Also, this level doesn't have the mountain texture, I noticed. But I can't remember if that texture was added in Ultimate and just in Episode 4, or if that's just gone. Like, I don't remember where that was from. Oh, is that Guppy?
Guppy,
I can take it.
Vivi, come here. Do you want to take Guppy?
Oh,
Yeah.
Guppy.
Here we go.
What?
He likes to shower.
Little up. There we go. Oh, he showers all the time. He begs me every morning
So
for a shower.
you still never clarify if it's with you or without you.
Oh, he joined me once. He tried.
Okay.
So
there.
This is an interesting example here because like this specific area here, this texture is different from what's in the PC one. They use that rock texture, right? So do you remember, like, I feel like most of the textures made it over. Like, how did you pick and choose which ones to cut, essentially, for memory space?
Yeah. What I did was I looked at the textures collectively and removed any that looked too similar to each other. So I wanted sort of a very diverse set of textures. And then I went back and added in some of them that were like a particular texture and it has with and without a switch on it.
Right.
So the switches and the buttons could only be used in places where there are switches and buttons. Otherwise, you'd have switches and buttons all over the place, and it would be very confusing. So if there was two textures that had one with and one without a button, it was depending on how frequently it was used in the game, I would choose to put one or the other, or sometimes both. So I sort of did it logically with here's a statistical sample of how many times each texture is used across the levels, and then I sort of just from my own eyes, I just like this one looks very similar to this other one, so we'll cut out the one that's got fewer instances.
That makes sense. I'm about to die. Death
so
comes
it sort
all.
of preserves the diversity.
Oh, there we go. Right, face plan to the slime. Somebody says, is it a big process converting the wads? And you've talked about this before. This was done originally back in the day.
Yeah, and right, even now, when I receive new levels from the level editors, I basically run it through a tool called Rip Doom, and it splits out the data from the particular wad, puts it into my format, and then I build that into the engine. It takes about 5 minutes, maybe 6 minutes to run through the entire set of levels.
Oh wow, not bad.
It's a fast, pretty automated process. Yeah, not bad at all.
That's
Considering it's running on the emulated Amiga, the tool will run on the emulated.
Oh wow,
Amiga,
that's amazing.
UAE.
But I did see a super chat there from Revenant. He says Quake SNES when.
Yeah.
And but in all seriousness, I'm wondering like how close do you think you could get to not doing the whole game of Quake, but like just drawing the like basic level geometry on some of the maps? Like how far do you think you could get if you could make any progress at all?
That would be a case where I would
hard.
use the Raspberry Pi.
Right.
I would use the Raspberry Pi. I would write some core that did all the transfers and the DMA and the color conversion and all that kind of stuff. And I would use the Raspberry Pi to run the engine, and then software draw, and then basically transfer over whole displays.
Because realistically, the 6502 or whatever, that's
65816.
It's the 816, yeah. And the Super NES, it's just not up to the task. And just as a reference point, I tried to play Quake on my 486 back in the day, right? So coming from Doom, it's like 15 to 30 FPS range on Doom, right? Not the best, but okay, totally playable. Quake on that same machine in the smallest window was literally 2 frames per second on a 486. And the 486 CPU is technically quite a bit faster than a Super NES CPU, like a lot faster, right? It was not up to the task of playing Quake by any means. It just didn't have the floating point performance necessary to do all these calculations. And so, like, yeah, I think there's just no way to natively run anything resembling Quake on here. But, like you say, if you use the Raspberry Pi, you probably could do something convincing.
Oh, yeah. I mean...
But it wouldn't really be SNES Quake.
Exactly. It wouldn't really be the SNES running Quake. It would be Quake running
on a Pi.
Running on a Pi interfaced to the SNES.
That would be.
But so I always thought that the port of Quake, the Sega Saturn port of Quake, I always loved because it kind of takes Ezra Driesbach took an approach similar to you for Doom, where he basically remade Quake using their own engine called Slave Driver. And it turned out way better than you would expect. Like, it's pretty much all there, but it's an original engine. Which was funny because, of course, John Carmack said, like, oh yeah, no way Quake can run on a Sega Saturn. Like, it's impossible. And then to turn around and do that, it's just like, oh, well, proven wrong again.
I think a lot of people didn't expect to see Doom running on the Super Nintendo.
It's the same exact thing, right?
From Sinohen here, or big. We got a super chat from Sinohen.
Awesome.
Canadian dollars, eh? So,
thank you, sir.
Been following DF for around 5 to 6 years, and I've loved hearing you guys talk about every facet of the games industry you find interesting. The passion you guys have for DF is infectious. Enjoy your newfound independence.
Oh, thank you, man. That's much appreciated.
Very nice.
I think we will. That's why I'm drinking a beer and cursing on stream. No, that's not going to become normal. That's not going to become normal. I swear. It's just for.
I used to say that, but we don't know yet.
We don't know yet. So
I got some.
This specific scene in this level is the part that made me say, "Oh yeah, this looks like because the floor and the ceiling are different colors, and because of the shadow here, it makes it look like there's like a transparent like glass overlay." And you're walking outside into the sky with a gradient there. So I always thought like this looks like you're looking at like some sort of like, you know, sky above you, which is cool.
Yes, it does.
It's really funny. It makes
Chris is asking if we know how many copies the original Doom on Super Nintendo sold.
Oh, Do you have any idea?
I don't. I know that it sold well. The product did very well. But yeah, I don't know. It was one of the big. They had they called September 1st Doomsday. They had a bunch of print ads. They even had a TV ad.
Yeah.
In the U.S. Yeah, but I don't know. I don't know how well it sold, other than it sold well.
And
I'm guessing you didn't put royalties on it, right?
Yeah.
So, do you remember why? Like, so I think it was like Williams or something published it in the U.S., but then it was like Ocean in Europe, and then Imagineer in Japan.
Imagineer in
like,
in Japan.
Why do you have any recollection why it was 3 different publishers?
I think they got better deals.
Oh. Okay. So it was the sculptured businessmen like going to all these companies like, all right.
Yeah,
we've
got a hot title. Bid. Yeah.
That's really funny. I love it.
It's actually funny because, like, you mentioned Imagineer for Japan, and you have a copy of Doom PC-98 that I gave you.
I actually have Doom 2 as well.
Yeah, I got that for you as well.
So yes, I cherish them.
The first one given to me by the original localizer.
Oh, that's so cool.
The Japanese version. I need to connect you two because I still.
I would love to talk to them.
Yeah. So.
Because
they would have had Doom over in Japan for all systems, I think.
Gosh, it's interesting how Doom just isn't much of a thing in Japan with developers.
It never was. Yeah.
I remember when I was visiting M2 a couple of years ago. The famed shooter guys, shot triggers and all that, and I asked those guys who here knows Doom? Like, who's played Doom? And like, literally everyone in the room except for Hori-san had never played Doom.
Yeah, I'm not surprised whatsoever.
But of course Hori knows because he's played everything. But his first version was he said the first version of Doom he played was because he was one of the few 3 people in Japan that bought the Super 32X, and he bought Doom with it. So that was his first experience with Doom. Which I was like, 32X version ran well, but it definitely was not great. But the current 32X version, I don't know if you've seen that, Randy, but the community's done an awesome work on also reviving that. It's so much better too. The 32X is a pretty nice piece of hardware. It just never really got used.
Yes. Yeah. It was too little, I think.
Yeah.
It was too much hardware that was too expensive, too late in the life cycle, and it had to compete against Saturn.
And fundamentally, I mean, the 32X, I think this idea of using the cartridge bus as the interface for some SH2 CPUs is not very good, because the cartridge bus itself is not fast enough to do that much with it. So it just kind of hamstrings what is pretty decent hardware.
Yes.
Now, earlier he was by that ceiling that goes up and down.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
You have some horror stories about that, right?
Well, there are some, let's just say, invisible falling floors here and there.
Yeah.
So if you're very unlucky coming to those pixels, well, you're most likely gonna die.
I just remember that I've been stuck in that area testing it over and over.
Yeah, and we had some other issues there that was very frustrating to tackle and reproduce. It's very difficult.
Actually, remind me, is this one of the levels that was omitted from the original release?
You're on episode
containment area. I think it's the episode 2, map 2, maybe.
1 second, I can check.
That's the entrance door.
So while you wait for Randy's answer, there are 2 super chats here. Matthew Robinson with $5 saying he just added his support to Patreon. Keep up good work.
Thank you, Matt.
And Greg Enright, also from Canada, $10, saying Super Nintendo Doom was my first Doom and I loved it. $10 Canadian in 1996 used from a local video game rental store.
Nice.
Tom was sort of alluding to the bug that was there that's in the prototype cartridges that we sent out
Yeah.
in that long hallway. We call it the hallway of horror, the hallway of doom, because there was a bug there where
red key.
not only would the screen flicker, but
Yeah,
if you paused, it would completely crash. And yes, it as you can see, it's since been corrected and fixed. But I had to. That's when Audi's probably remembering. But I said I need a reference to a couple of video game stores, retro stores in Toronto, that can sell me a original model version 1 of the Super NES.
Yeah, not
Because-
a one.
Yes. Yes.
Wait,
And,
why specifically Model 1?
Because that was the hardware that Tom was using.
Oh.
And I didn't know that it was a general bug at the time, because I couldn't get it. I use for my development, I use a Hyperkin Super Retron and HD, I think. That's what it's called. And Audi was like, "No, we should be testing on all original hardware." And
no offense to Hyperkin, but just like we needed you to test this on original hardware, and it's just like we need, like, that's the target.
Yes.
Anything else is
I was gonna
great.
surprise myself.
Yeah, that Randy wasn't using an actual.
Yeah, me too. That's
like,
wild.
Well, I'm not using a Super Ted. I was like, "Why are you using?" He came with this weird name, and I was like, "What?"
You're using a Retron?
it's very good. It's I gotta tell you, it runs everything.
The game runs, so I mean,
Yeah, the game runs and runs well, and
well, I guess there's something to be said for testing on those types of devices, because people will want to run it on clone devices.
Yeah. But you have
as a
to
primary
kind of,
test point, though.
Yes, the primary test point has to be stock, like that.
So, but when you said a first model, I thought you were talking about like the first revision of the motherboard or something, not
SNS
like just
001.
Right, but that's just the regular Super NES, like but not necessarily like, because they made multiple motherboard revisions, I believe.
Yes.
So,
yeah, famously, there's the one chip one that came later.
Yeah. This one had to be one of the early ones, so I've got.
Yellow.
It's been caramelized. Nice.
Oh, yes.
Guys, super brightest, but that's really bad for the environment. Don't do that.
Wait, it is?
Super brighting?
I didn't think about
I think
that.
so, yeah. The chemicals you have to use for that? Unless it's changed the last time I looked at it.
Hydrogen peroxide?
Yeah. Was something else that they used, wasn't it?
I mean, originally they used some kind of like peroxide cream, but that cream method kind of... I don't like doing the cream method because it creates like streaking. Yeah. Oh, it can if you do it really well, it's fine. But I didn't do it really well, so the dunking it in a vat of hydrogen peroxide tends to work better, I find.
So someone's asking Randy if you will be open sourcing this engine in the future.
Yes.
Oh, that's cool.
Simple.
Oh, yeah, I mean, it's just a yes. And you also open sourced already the Rumble controller.
Yes.
So
all the tech specs.
Oh, wait, pause. I have to hop in here. I just noticed that the number of people viewing the stream right now is 1,084, which is like the 1084S Commodore monitor.
Wow.
Yes, it's a good omen.
That's a lot of people. Wow. That's amazing.
That was our friend Bastish B, great YouTuber.
Is he here?
He's not. I don't think so. But he was. He made a video. We sent him a test board, and he was actually playing the game on that monitor.
Yeah,
that's awesome. I love the B-Man.
So Adnam Rod. Oh my God. $10 and says expand patch SNES Doom for 1 versus 1 deathmatch. Anyone aware of this? Sorry if it's asked already. This is how I did Doom deathmatch. So this version does not have expand support.
Yes, I removed the expand support from the new version of Doom, but a great guy his handle is Play134.
Yeah, that's his real name.
Birth certificate.
Did work to bring the expand patch back online and got it actually working.
Huh.
Yeah.
Interesting. I love the story you have from the original release of this, like the original SNES Doom. That like, why does it support this and that? And you just like, I just wanted as many icons on the box.
Many of the icons.
Yeah,
I wanted many icons on the box. And as it turns out, they didn't put the one for the mouse on the box because the mouse support was sort of half and half there. But so I had the opportunity to add in full and proper support for mouse or for mouse with controller.
See, I feel like that, on top of everything else, is the best reason for this project to exist. Because I think, Randy, you said you would wake up sometimes in a cold sweat in the middle of the night, still having nightmares about not getting that mouse icon on the box.
I know.
And now finally,
mouse icon
it's finally there.
Exactly. And the little rumble icon.
What's this rumor? I mean, I think it was kind of when you released the Doom source back in the day, and people were like Demetrius MVG, like he was looking through it and they found the Super Scope traces in there. But did you start that, not finish it? Like, what was the deal there?
Yeah, it was started. It was barely operational, and then I ended up pulling it all. But I left one of the remnants, which was the enable line, but there was no references to it. So it basically was like a light switch that wasn't connected to anything. So you could turn it on and off, but it didn't do anything. But yeah, the original plan was, again, to get as many of those little Nintendo icons on the box as possible.
Yeah.
I can't imagine playing with the Super Scope, though. I assume you tried it, right?
Oh yeah.
And it must not have been very good.
No.
We actually did ask Randy about that, about adding it in this one.
And?
But didn't happen.
Randy, you're just like, no.
Yeah. Basically, we decided that we would add full support for mouse, and then once the mouse support was in, a guy we work with, his name is Joe, at Limited Run, said,
Joe
"What about
Mochulesky.
hybrid?"
Say his name. Joe Mochulesky.
Can you say his name?
I'm just joking with you. Go ahead.
Okay. Yeah. And he said, what about a hybrid mode where you basically use the controller and you can do forward and back, and use the left bumper for switching your weapon and use the mouse for turning.
Yep.
And I added it in, and it turns out that it's a really, really great idea.
I mean, that's basically PC style right there.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's like PC style, sort of pseudo keyboard plus mouse.
Right.
I mean, Joe at work is like the Doom guy at the office and knows his Doom. So I wasn't surprised they kind of figured out how to make that work.
Oh, yeah.
I feel like that exists on Quake 2 for the PlayStation, if I recall. If you play it with the mouse, you can use the mouse to look around, and then you use the controller in your other hand, and you can play it that way. So that was also... Actually, Quake 2 is another port in your wheelhouse where it's, again, they recreated the game using their own engine, and it's just like... I kind of miss those days. Like, now it's like... And that's made the work for DF sometimes a little more boring. It's like, oh, okay, this Switch version, it's very impressive to get this running on Switch, but it's fundamentally just like, it's the same Unreal Engine version.
Yes.
Just they just turned things down or turned off certain things, and it's fundamentally the same. It just runs worse and looks worse, which that's still cool, and there's still a lot of work to be done to make that happen, but it's not the same as essentially rewriting a whole game to make the impossible possible.
Yeah, we don't really get that anymore. I mean,
there's no real need for it usually, but
Yeah, I remember when you were talking about like Yooka-Laylee on the sequel on Switch. That was like one where they like really optimized it to be 60.
Yeah, they built it. Like 60 FPS was the target on Switch. They knew if they could get 60 in Switch, they get 60 in everything, and they were right.
Yeah. That's like the closest you kind of get these days of like, it's hardcore optimizing, I guess.
Yep.
Bartman 3010 since $2 says time for hard mode. Gex on Super Nintendo. No more Gex. I need a Gex break.
No more Gex. I mean, I think the problem, the main issue with Gex on Super NES would just be like there's probably too much tile data, too much art. Probably. And like I don't know if you could display all of that. Like I don't think the Super NES has enough memory or enough frame buffer to actually display a whole screen. But it could probably run it better than 3DO did. Because the 3DO version, I mean 3DO was slow at 2D, which is why that Mortal Kombat 2 port's so cool. Because it doesn't, because 3DO uses a frame buffer like a PC, and frame buffers back then, you know, they didn't have like dedicated scrolling hardware like for tiles and sprites. So you could arbitrarily draw whatever you want on the 3DO, which is cool, but it wasn't accelerated. Well, I mean, there was some acceleration, but it wasn't like, it was not for like tile maps or anything. So the cell system they had was not fast enough to do 2D playfields smoothly. At least I thought, until that dude dropped the Mortal Kombat 2 port and changed everything I knew about the 3DO.
It's pretty spectacular. Revenant is sending $5 more. I think this is the second or third super chat from them.
Right.
I'm watching on a proper Trinitron CRT that paid too much for because of someone here.
Oops, sorry.
Randall, how does this FX3 compare to the SVP and the FX2 chip? Are you familiar enough with the Genesis SVP chip?
I'm not familiar enough with the SVP chip, but as far as compared to the FX2 chip, I would estimate we are maybe between 2 and 3 times faster, roughly. Yeah, I would estimate that we're between 2 to 3 times faster. That's why even with the FX Pack Pro, they've got a high-speed mode for the Super FX that basically improves the weight states and it works very, very well. But it's a lot slower than our actual hardware. So yeah, I would give it an estimate of 2 to 3 times. For reference, when I do debugging on the PC in Mason, I set the overclocking for the Super FX to 300%.
Oh, I see. That makes sense.
Yeah.
So
that works out.
You obviously haven't worked on the SVP chip, but did you actually check it out and see what Sega did with it?
I did not. I was interested in it. I thought Sega, with the Virtua series, was very, very groundbreaking. It, you know, when Virtua Fighter first came out, and
for sure, but like getting the SVP was just for the Genesis, Sega, or Mega Drive, right?
Yes.
And I guess what surprised me there was the Super NES was like Super FX games were generally very limited on performance, but the SVP chip managed to deliver like a stable 15 frames per second, and which was, I thought, like twice as smooth as any comparable Super NES racing game or any of the Super FX games. And I was always wondering like what it is that allowed them to pull that off, because they're obviously still dealing with some of the same limitations transferring over the cartridge bus, but I don't know how all that stuff compares to the Super NES, so it's hard to say.
I don't know how it compares to the Super NES directly, but I do know that one of the slowest parts of the Super FX design, let me rephrase that. It's one of the best and fastest parts of the Super FX design because it addresses the slowest part of dealing with the video RAM transfer, and that is the chunky to planar pixel conversion.
Right.
In the Super FX, I basically just say, at this X and this Y coordinate, I want to plot a pixel of color 7, for example. And the Super FX takes care of all of the messiness of splitting that up into all the individual bits across all the different bit planes.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's very advanced. So that's why 3D was even possible on the Super FX chip in the first place, because it had this hardware that that effectively did that. That was one of the few things that the hardware was designed to do.
Man, I need to get somebody on here who worked on this SVP chip, but it's literally just Sega.
Yeah.
Pretty much, right?
There was no third-party games that used that chip. So
No.
actually, the thing about Genesis is that add-on chips in it were exceptionally rare.
Yes.
Versus Super NES, where a lot of games use them. Not as many as the NES, but still a fair amount.
Yeah.
Someone's asking a question that is directed at me. Because of the independence of DF, is there a possibility that Audi gets promoted and Rich gets degraded? Not demoted, he gets degraded. So that he can trap Rich in the dungeon to play Bubsy 3D for weeks. I mean, the sky is the limit, right? So we'll see what this Nintendo brings. But
oh man,
I certainly have plans for Rich to play some games that he wasn't expecting to play in his lifetime.
I haven't played all the way through this level in years. I never liked it. And I don't remember how to get out of this room.
Maybe the chat can help.
Chad, how do I get out of this darn room? It is not obvious.
Restart the level.
This isn't like Hexen, which actually had... Oh, there it is. I knew it was going to be a freaking door. It's just hard to tell when it's pixelated. But hey, it's part of the charm. Hard mode.
Map.
Yeah, but the map didn't... It doesn't always tell you these things, but yeah. We're through. And I got that key. So we're rolling like Fred Durst here through this level. Oh man. Yeah, episode 2 I largely just don't play much of. I never liked a lot of the maps as much. Like, some of them are good, but it's too much Sandy Peterson. Sorry, Sandy. Hope you're well.
Hope you're doing well.
Yeah, episode 2 had some of the big complex levels, so that ended up, we dropped 3 in the original version. 1 from episode 1 from episode 3, and 3 from episode 2.
Yeah, that makes sense. That tracks.
If I had the choice, I would pick 2 smaller levels in exchange for 1 larger level, because I wanted more diversity in the levels.
Right.
And similarly with the music has been rearranged so that it now matches the original PC, so the level music matches what it's supposed to be. But in the original version of Doom, I mixed them all up so that we could have more music tracks. So the music doesn't really follow the PC levels.
But now it does.
Now it does.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess episode 2 it's largely not. There's some good maps in episode 2. It's episode 3 that is my least. Man, what's so interesting about Doom is that the original release has some weak points, but when you look at Doom as a whole, you can appreciate how great and important it really is. You know what I mean? Like, Doom is just like it's the infinite game. It's continued to exist, and it remains so fun and playable. Just thanks to the continued support, the amount of stuff made for it, just the creativity. That's why I think it's one of the best games ever made.
Oh yeah. Like last year at Quakecon, when they announced Doom 1 and 2.
Right.
It sort of came out of nowhere, and it's like, it's got all these new features, and it's got, community mods, and it's got multiplayer. And
it happened again this year with Hexen and Heretic.
I know. Somebody's got to let me in on these things before they happen.
Sorry, I wasn't allowed, Randy. Otherwise, I would have told you. I got that code early, and I was jamming through it. Made a video, and it was fun. I was happy that they actually mentioned that video on the Quakecon live stream, even, which was kind of unexpected. Okay. Man, Doom. The thing about Doom, though, is like even after you've played a bunch of Doom, you usually just want to go play more Doom. That's the thing. I really never get tired of it.
Matthias Frank is asking if there's any chance of Amiga content in the future. And yes, there's a lot of things planned around the Amiga.
There is certainly chances for that. I mean, anything could go. I need to get... I'm working on something else next, and then there's Gamescom, and then I gotta finish my Tony Hawk's Pro Skater DF Retro episode, which is still half complete. But it's also near and dear to my heart. That's another fun one, Randy. I don't know if you're familiar with that series, but they Vicarious Visions sort of ported Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2 to the Game Boy Advance. They did an isometric take on it, but the characters were polygons still. All right, the Crusher, and they used the PlayStation's game code for like movement and like just the general feel of the game, so that it ended up feeling like spot on, despite being like isometric. So it's a really, really clever, cool port.
Oh.
Didn't they do something similar with Tomb Raider, or am I thinking about the wrong thing?
No, I don't think they did. Oh. And here it is, episode 3.
The Sandy Special.
The Sandy Special. I mean, the thing is, though, is at the time, these levels were still awesome, I think, or generally... It's just over time, we've seen how far Doom can go, right? And also recognize, like, I feel like John Romero's maps especially are like shining beacons in this game. They just never get old.
I have tried to contact John Romero a few times, so if he's listening, get back to me.
Oh yeah, come on now. That would be great.
I know. Sigil 2.
You want that on Super Nintendo?
Yeah, it'd be awesome.
With MSU1 support, so you could do the actual soundtracks.
Yeah.
Yes.
Wow.
Actual soundtracks would be nice. Would be straightforward to do.
Man, so I forget, who did you deal with at id Software back in the day?
I had 2 conversations with Carmack.
Okay.
And that was basically it.
What did he think? Remind me, what did he think of this project? I assume that they would have thought like, wow, this is unexpected to say the least.
They were surprised. I think they were very surprised at it.
I can imagine.
Yeah. Well, it sort of showed up on their doorstep one day. As I said, I worked on the prototype, got it so that it was operational, but there weren't objects. So it was just
right. It's just maps,
just the walls, and you could run around, and there was a status bar.
Right.
So there was no pickups, there were no monsters, and I'm not even sure if there was a weapon yet. And you could run around the E1M1, and it was obviously Doom, but it was running at Super FX1 speed. So imagine the Super FX Doom, yes, at half the frame rate.
Oh no!
Oh yeah, and I brought that in to show Sculptured, and Sculptured was very surprised and impressed and said, "Wow, that's Doom running on the Super Nintendo. Let's contact id Software." And so they did, and so when it showed up at id Software's doorstep, they were very surprised. Yeah,
I think that's really so. What I like about this story is, like, when you go back through id's history, obviously one of the big things they did was that whole attempt at porting Super Mario Bros. 3 to the PC. Yeah. And they basically went to Nintendo, kind of like you guys did with id Software and Doom, and Nintendo basically told them to F off, as far as I remember. And let's be clear, we've seen that Super Mario 3 demo, and it wasn't really, it was not up to par, but it's still funny that, I mean, it's good for the PC, but it ain't Mario Brothers 3, right? It's nowhere near that, like not even close. And the scrolling, while smooth for the PC, was also much, much slower than the consoles. So They did okay. Like when you play Commander Keen, it runs at like sub 30 FPS, which again, scrolling on the PC really hard because it didn't have any hardware for scrolling playfields. So I understand, but still, compared to what you get in the NES. But I think it's neat that, they got turned down by Nintendo, but then later on people would come to them in the same way and say, "Can we do your game?" And they were like, "Yes." Please do. I think it's great. And hey, I mean, they were all... I appreciated that for all those years, for like 20 years maybe. I can't remember how long actually. Id was they kept to their word about releasing the source code. Whenever they release a new game, they would release the source code for the last game. And I think that's the big secret to the longevity behind these games.
Mm-hmm.
It's like it's like giving everybody the keys to the car. It's like, just go nuts, do whatever. And people absolutely did that.
Well, that's why I released the source to original Doom.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Because there was no complete example. Here's an entire game from beginning to end, and it's running on the Super FX. So it was sort of following in those footsteps.
And that's amazing because you could learn a lot from that. Just having shipping code for a complex Super NES game like that. It's a really great place to sort of get your feet wet and try to understand, like, how does this hardware work? How do you actually address this thing? And that's super, super cool of you to have done that. And I think the community greatly appreciates all that stuff. It's great.
Yeah, I hope so. I hope it's important to give back to the community, and so that was one of the things that Josh really pushed. He said, make sure that all this code and the data and the technology and the documentation gets out there. And he said, make sure you work with the people to help them to implement the Rumble to get it operational to do so. And that's very forward thinking.
Agreed. Well, gentlemen, I feel like we're coming up. We've been at this for 2 hours almost here. 1 hour, 56 minutes. I love playing Doom, but it is Sunday night here, so we should probably look about wrapping things up. Yep. But I do want to
work.
Yeah, exactly. I gotta get ready for work tomorrow. First week of full freedom.
Yes.
For us at DF. Monday's morning will be the Monday morning meeting that we always do. Should be interesting. But yeah. So first, thank you to all of you guys for joining on this stream. It was a pleasure. It's always a pleasure to chat with you folks.
Yes, thank you for hosting.
Of course. And likewise, thanks to all the chat, of course, for joining in and watching this. And we actually got one last super chat here from Nash again, who says, Randy, add slopes and spinning sprites for John in the SNES Doom engine. Oh no, that's an old reference. So to explain that, Randy, when I was a kid, I love the Game Boy, but I had this chip on my shoulder because most games in Game Boy didn't have slopes or spinning coins. So like you play Mario Bros. 3 at NES, tons of slopes, and the coins spin, right? Yes. And I was always like, why is it they never do that on Game Boy? Although there were some games that did, it turns out. But it was much less common. And it used to drive me nuts. But of course, I've since kind of, now it's a lot more obvious why that would have been, just given the extremely low pixel count of the Game Boy. Like, adding slope tiles instantly makes the playfield that much more cramped, I think. Yeah. Plus, every new tile, it's not about whether the hardware can or can't, it's about space on the cartridge and all that. And it's just all those factors coming together that probably determined it. But even still, there were some developers that insisted on doing slopes and spinning coins. Like, I believe, what was it? It's what's the name of that mascot character? Mr. Nuts. There was a Mr. Nuts port for, what a great name. There's a Mr. Nuts port for Game Boy where there is actually slopes and spinning coins everywhere.
What a game.
And there's even Game Boy games with parallax scrolling. nobody ever would just say, nope, we're not doing it. They're just like, we're going to figure this out. Prehistoric Man. They did like line scrolling. So but it all had to be done on the CPU, right? Because the Game Boy had no support for any of that stuff in hardware. But man, what a good time! All of this, it was awesome to have all you guys here. Hopefully next time, these last hours of.
If you want to order the game, and this is the last time you can do it.
And maybe if you order a copy, you can convince, since we were just talking about Mr. Nuts, maybe Randy can put nuts.wad in SNES Doom. Are you familiar with nuts.wad, Randy?
Is that the one with all of the it's huge.
The thousands and thousands of monsters?
Yes.
Yes, that's the one. The one that notoriously ran, well, barely ran. And I think if you on a period PC, it would just cause like a memory allocation error. I don't think we're going to see that on Super NES, alas.
No. Well, you put it in Randy's mind now, so next week.
Exactly. You never know.
You never know. He's going to try it. All right. Well, we've now officially crossed the 2-hour mark. So we're going to end the stream here. Take care, everyone. And we'll see you soon.
Follow Tom on Blue Sky.